Okay. Oh, there are 4 people in here now.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Christy Ashton. Thank you for joining us for today's Ascent360 Marketing Shot, which is a short, sweet dose of marketing inspiration. And today we're talking about how to own your customers with Bar Bruhis, who is our Director of Business Development and really has his fingers on the pulse of this problem for today's brands and retailers. So with that, I'll turn it over to Bar and let him take it away.
Awesome. Thanks a ton, Christy. And looks like we have a couple of people on the line already. So nice to see that. A couple people from Body Glide, which is awesome. So we can definitely make this specific to you guys and then also more general in talking about the problem at hand. So really to kind of tee it up in terms of the problem that we see, and this problem is actually prevalent on both Amazon and drop shipping, in that you obviously are getting a good amount of information. You're getting the first name, you're getting the last name of your customers. You're obviously also getting the address and the product that person bought so that you can send that to them, whether it's an order that's come through Amazon or it's an order that's come through drop shipping. But really the crux of the problem, and you can see that here, is that you're not getting their email, right? So it's usually some jumbled up letters and numbers at marketplace.amazon.com. Same thing with drop shipping. So you have no way of communicating with that customer. And at the end of the day, Amazon is actually an amazing channel and something that, we want to keep using to get in front of net new customers. But really the pitfall or the problem is that it's really hard to own that customer, bring them back and get them to buy again. We talk to a lot of our clients that, they'll see that their Amazon customers are actually, net new, but they're actually a lot lower value just because of that free shipping. So you might see that your average order value on your e-commerce store is closer to $50 or $60, where on your Amazon store it might only be $15 because that person's only buying a hat or something really small. So now that we've got the problem, how do we solve that? How do we get that person's email so that we can market to them, we can get them to come back and make another purchase, whether it's the same product, a similar product, and more importantly, get them to come back and buy on our website. So that's really, where our extension or our expansion engine comes in, right? So, and this works in a couple of different ways, but it's really a 3-step process. So the first step is we're going to actually be pulling in all of your Amazon, all of your drop shipping data into one central location. And then you're actually able to start to overlay that with your existing customer database. So, typically what you're going to see, and this, this first part definitely varies. If you're a very Amazon heavy business and 90% of your business is on Amazon and 10% of your business is on your e-commerce store, whether it's Shopify or Magento or BigCommerce, you're probably not going to see a massive overlap between the two. If it's 50-50 and you're selling, half of your sales on Amazon, half on e-commerce, you're probably going to see a little bit higher of a overlap. So in this case, you can see it's about 12% overlap. That's assuming about a 50-50 split between your Amazon and e-commerce. And that's what that's going to do is it's actually going to allow you to start to see, the behavior between those two platforms. Are you cannibalizing your Amazon sales with your e-commerce or vice versa? It's also going to give you a better view of your customer, right? So, now we might have only seen Bar Bruhis on your Shopify or e-commerce store, and that person has only made one purchase. Once we overlap that with Amazon, we're actually going to be able to see that Bar has made 3 purchases and he's actually worth a lot more than we originally thought. while, after we actually do that, after we've overlapped that data, we're actually also going to see that a lot of your prospects are actual customers as well. So someone that's maybe come into your website, signed up for a pop-up, maybe 20% off, or a free product, whether it's on your blog or whether it's a pop-up, that prospect we originally thought had never bought from us. But in reality, what we typically see is that a lot of those people are actually getting communication from you, whether it's a new product release or whether it's the latest blog post, and they're interacting with your brand over email. They're actually making purchases over your Amazon store. And that's really helpful because now you can actually treat those customers differently, right? A prospect should no longer be treated as a prospect. They should probably be treated as a customer. And then the last part, and this is really the most innovative part, is this expansion. So typically what we see, and kind of going back to the root of the problem, we're getting first name, last name, and address. Typically what we're going to see is about 25 to 30% of those Amazon customers that we had no email address are now going to come back with an email, and we're going to be able to communicate with them. And we'll go over some of the plays that we can actually do and run to go and actually communicate with these customers. But really, really important here that now you're expanding your database, in this case by about 21,000 net new customers that you would have never been able to talk to before. And that's also playing within the Amazon terms of service and playing in the bounds of what Amazon says you can and can't do. So now that we've got these 21,000 extra net new customers, let's talk a little bit about how can we actually get those customers to come back and buy again, right? There's a couple of different ways that we can definitely do that. And really the first thing that we want to do is really figure out who are the top customers that are on Amazon, right? If we have 100,000 purchasers, probably not all 100,000 would make sense to market to. If you're a 10-year-old business, it probably doesn't make sense to market to that 8, 9, 10-year-old customer, right? They've probably kind of moved on. Now, if that 8, 9 year or 10-year-old customers still buying and buying a lot, then it probably does. And that's, part of what we're able to do is take these data points and really simplify it so that you can see, hey, who are my top, who are my bottom, who are my middle customers? Really important here, most clients that we're working with, it's the classic 80-20 rule, right? That 20% of their customers are driving 80% of their revenue. And those 20% of customers are usually worth about 16 times more than a regular, like middle of the pack, bottom of the pack customer. So now that, we've got these top 20% of customers, we can actually start to push those to, and there's actually different ways of doing it. So the first way, and this is kind of the least aggressive way, is pushing them into your social media and marketing campaigns, right? So we can upload the top 20% of these emails into your Facebook, into your Google, your Instagram, and we can actually market directly to them, right? And this is obviously the least aggressive, because most customers, when they see a Facebook ad, are actually just going to associate that with, an Amazon advertising, right? And they're not actually going to see that as, you going out of your way to advertise to them. And we have all sorts of plays that we can definitely dive into there, whether it's, sending them into a discount flow, or whether it's sending them into an educational flow where we're educating them about the brand and the material. But that's really the first way, is uploading that into your paid channels. The second way is doing a soft introduction, and we have all sorts of templates that we can definitely run for this as well. But this is where we're actually able to send them an email and usually have an opt-out click, right? So you think about that and you just say something along the lines of, hey, we haven't heard from you in a while, or hey, welcome to our brand. If you want to opt out and not hear from us here's a button to click on. If they open and click on that, we would automatically remove them from the list, and we're not going to ever communicate with them again over email. And then usually the best way to do, once they've actually opted in, the best way, and especially with Q4 rolling around and Black Friday and Cyber Monday and the Christmas and the holiday push, what I typically like to do is some sort of promotion, right? Whether it's 20 or 30% off. And again, I think worthwhile remembering that these customers have bought from you and they've actually touched your product. You know, they've interacted with you, and we know that they're actually the top 20% of your customers. Really worth it to get them to come back and interact with you on your website so that you can own that relationship. So, you know, really, you can obviously do this in a couple of different ways. Probably the easiest way to do it and to actually execute on this is through what we call a CDP. And that's really almost like a CRM for marketers, right? So all of this data is going to live in one place. It's going to be harmonized. You're going to have a 360-degree view of your customer. So, you know, going back to that bar brewist example, you'll actually be able to see that bar bought on your Shopify store or your Magento store. He also bought twice on your Amazon store. And oh, by the way, he's opened the last 3 emails. So he's actually really, really engaged right now. And all of this definitely ties back to results. So every single thing that we talked about, we always want to be results oriented. And that's the beauty of our platform, is that we're actually going to be able to bring it all in, be able to tell you, hey, this email campaign, this Facebook campaign generated X amount of revenue. And at the end of the day, you know, we want to make sure that for every $2 you invest in this, or sorry, for every $1 you invest in this, you're getting at least $2 on the back end of that. And that's why, you know, we are able to track and we are able to be very much results oriented. And so, you know, with that, if this is of interest to you, we would definitely love to continue the conversation. A couple different ways to find out more information. If you go to ascent360.com/meetyourdata, you'll actually find a good amount of information on there. But we also would love to talk with you and maybe run some of the numbers for your business and make sure that you are doing everything in your power to own your customer. So if that's the case, we'd love to hear from you. Our email's at hello@ascent360.com. And that concludes it for today, unless we have any questions from anyone.
Actually, yeah, we will follow up with some answers. We are right at time. But so Bar, when you're celebrating 21,000 new customers, what would be a shot you would take to celebrate?
You know, Christy, I'm a tequila guy, and 1942 is my favorite tequila. It's definitely not a Monday through Friday everyday type of sipper, but if you've never had 1942 tequila, I would definitely recommend it. It tastes almost like butter.
All right, great. Well, with that, we're going to toast to this marketing shot being done with a 1942 tequila shot. And thank you all for joining, and stay tuned for more marketing shots.